Welcome back to Curse, Code, and Crown, a live play Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition podcast featuring a fully original world and campaign. I am the wizard Cronox, observer of time. Curse, Code, and Crown features our regular voiceover artists and improvisers, Laura Elizabeth as the Orc Count Eta and Princess Gwendolyn, Tyler Hewitt as Makka Deathcap, and Ryan LaPlante as Duncan Danno, alongside our dungeon master, the incredible Tom McGee. So get ready for an adventure including thrills, chills, and hope for a brighter tomorrow. It's time for Curse, Code, and Crown!
The Dougler has been unleashed, and the Dougler is hungry. The Dougler also, in this dim light, is terrifying. Imagine a massive, hulking, furry creature, 6 eyes, sort of almost a goat muzzle, snout, long shaped horns off the end of the chin, long curling horns coming out of the head, massive meaty arms. The Dougler has 4 arms, Goro style, and is back jointed legs, end in hooves. As the Dougler crawls out of the crystal, he kind of twitches, and big leathery wings flap off the back, casting both demon knights and crystals, or like shards of the giant crystal that he was encased in, off. And as he finishes graying the dwarf, he just clenches his fist, and the demon knight shatters in his hand. Roll for initiative.
9.
11. 12.
All right. So we've got 12 for Duncan. We've got, 9 was Tyler?
Eta.
11 was Makka.
Yeah. Great. Great. And we've got, okay. We've rolled a straight, everybody. I got, I guess we need a 10 in there somewhere, but cool. Okay.
8 or 13, Tom. 8 or 13.
Oh, we got the 13. We're missing a 10.
Damn it.
We got 9, 11, 12, 13, 14.
Oh, fuck.
Right? We were so close. Really shouldn't have gone all in. Now I'm going to lose my house. Okie dokie.
Or 3 characters.
So first up is... Oh, I won't lose those. You will. First up is the Dougler. So the Dougler rolls both sets of shoulders and seems to yawn in like a massive, like full body yawn, and scratches his ass with one of his arms, and just says, "Oh, that was good, but not nearly enough." And now that the Dougler is speaking through his actual mouth, all of you can hear it. I'm going to need intelligence saves from both Eta and Duncan, please. Following through on Cthulhu rules, Tyler, Makka is good because you already had this happen once.
It's a 13 for Duncan.
An 11 for Eta.
Sorry, pals.
But
right. That's not so bad, actually. 4 points of damage. It's off 2d10. You guys did very well.
That's, yeah.
So as it's that classic, like when aliens have subtitles in movies and it starts out as the alien language and then like quickly converts to whatever language you're watching in. For a moment, it's complete nonsense that really pushes the limits of your understanding. But then it begins to solidify into a language you can understand, despite knowing that it's not common. So he does that, and then he's going to continue to attack the demon knights and doctors who are close to him. He's using one hand to scratch his ass, so he only gets 3 attacks. But all of them hit. So he grabs like 2 demon knights and a doctor, and collectively they begin to gray. And he's just kind of rolling his head around like he's swishing a fine wine around. And he says, these are a bit new for the Douglas taste, but they'll have to do. And then as he finishes one, he just tosses it aside like an empty juice box, and it shatters against a wall, which is his turn, bringing us to Duncan.
Duncan will spin Mr. Bang up into his hand, and then actually, instead of drawing the rapier, he reverses and draws his scabbard, and the scabbard of Unlikely Fellowship, the painting unfurls beside him, and he looks to the other two and he says, "Now that's a demon, but when it comes to killing demons, I'm the man." And then he swirls it around him like a flag. And he says, "Kill it for the princess." And then Mr. Bang comes up and he'll unload both barrels towards the demon. Also, the Scabbard of Unlikely Fellowship casts Bless. So for the next minute, for all 3 of us, because it's up to 3 creatures, we get to add a D4 to all attack rolls and saves.
Oh, nice.
Great.
This is the first turn of those 6 turns. All right, so let's see what happens. Do we have advantage with it just eating people and not paying attention to us, Tom? Or what's
No, it's fully aware of its surroundings. If it was like a monster or something, yes, but this is a
Yeah, that's reasonable.
full on demon lord situation. So no, he's good.
That is so the first shot is a 21 to hit.
Yep, that'll hit. Barely, but it'll hit.
And the second is a 25 to hit. So.
Yep, that'll hit.
And both of those do 11 damage for a total of 22 piercing damage from Mr. Bang.
Not bad, man. Not bad.
And then what he would like to do to keep his spell in range, but at the same time, he'll just dash like 15 feet to the left so the demon can't just charge all 3 of us and just stomp us into the ground. But he's going to stay within, let's just say 30 feet of his friends for the effect of the scabbard.
Just like trailing a fucking measuring tape behind me, like,
Yeah.
1, 2, shit, too far. All right, there you go.
Close, I'm close. I'm going to get it. And then I think at the same time, of course, he will, Mr. Bang down, rapier out. Now he's got it. It's fucking twirling murder dance.
Yep, gotcha. Very cool. In terms of this room, just so we all have the same visual, because it's been a hot sec since I described it to Gwen's ghost like fucking 10 episodes ago or whatever. Very much a circular observation room. In most movies, where the demon would be like in like Star Trek terms, would be like the warp core. So there's kind of a massive, the crystal was in the dead center of the room, with a number of these cables that we described heading out and off of like coils of them heading off the top of the crystal. Around it seem to be observation booths and monitoring equipment, that sort of thing. Of course, all very much arcane style monitoring. It's not like there's computers and shit. But very much like almost like in GoldenEye, it would be like the computer room in the GoldenEye facility. It's just one of those spaces that seems very much like a water filtration plant, like just a place where you just keep the lights on, you just keep things going. So not a particularly exciting room, as Gwendolyn discovered. But yes, big circular room. You are on the second level of it, which is kind of at Demon's Waist. Below is kind of a lower circular area where the demon's feet are. So you're kind of like, I'd say probably 6 feet off of ground level.
So we could jump to the ground without injury kind of thing?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. It's not like a massive drop. It's just the kind of thing a small flight of stairs would bring you up to. You think logistically, just so that you don't have to build everything around the crystal, because you don't want to be too close to the crystal in case you fuck it up. No one wants to spill coffee on the crystal. So they built kind of a second level to do all their operational stuff on. But you can see Demon Knights like leaping into the pit because obviously it's hard to hit something with an axe. You can get at it from this level. It's just a little harder than if you're like at its feet.
Gotcha.
Cool. All right. Good round, Duncan. That was a good amount of damage. Makka.
I'm going to cast blindness on the Dougler. It needs to make a Constitution saving throw.
Excellent.
DC 15.
It is not immune to blindness, which is interesting. DC 15. And I'm sorry, it's a
Constitution save.
Oof. Holy shit. Well, I rolled a 2, so that's a 10, but it's still not good enough.
Okay, so that was a luck on my part. Okay, good. So the Dougler is blinded.
The Dougler just kind of yells, "Oh, hey, wait a minute. Did I close all my eyes at the same time? This doesn't make any sense. Where'd everybody go? Oh, man. Just must be so hungry I can't see anymore. Fuck. Fuck." And it just like smashes a half-grade dwarf who explodes in a shower of giblets and fragments of stone. And the Dougler seems more like frustrated with this than mad. But yes, the Dougler is blind. Is this a roll to see if the blindness continues kind of deal? All right.
Yeah. At the end of the Dougler's turn, he can make a Constitution save.
Cool. Man,
Well,
good
probably bought us one turn of blindness, realistically.
Dude, it's good. It's good.
Does he roll at the beginning of turn or end of turn, Tyler?
At the end.
So maybe 2. We'll see. We'll see.
Excellent. Do you want to do anything else on your turn there, Makka? You still got movement. You got a minor action. You got a bonus.
Let me just mark off blindness before I forget. Let's spend the spell slot. There we go.
Also, I forgot, so I'm just going to state it out loud so the rest of you can remind me. You do have Bless, which I think would have added a D4 to that. Is that correct? Ryan?
Only
No,
if it was
'cause
an
that's-
attack roll or a save. So
yeah,
it wouldn't
that's
have
a save
affected.
that
okay.
you had
All
to
right.
do.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, you were just blessed. Hashtag blessed in general.
I think I'll stay put so that I have relatively easy access to my allies if I need to run over and cure wounds or something.
Okay, cool. Just for kind of visual narrative sake, because I'm always kind of curious how Makka interprets things like this. What's Makka's stance? What's kind of the vibe Makka's giving off right now during this fight?
It's shield up, club in his other hand, ready to fight. The effects of his symbiotic entity are persisting, so he's still kind of like bulked up and spiky and stuff like that. The I guess flavor of blindness would, I think we've done this once before, but like he sort of releases like a pollen burst.
Right.
And as the Dougler inhales it blinds him. It's basically like he's almost been poisoned, and the effect of the poison is loss of vision.
That's great. That ties into his snack-related concerns. Love it. Okay, fantastic. Ita.
I think personally, I don't know that I have much that can really deal significant damage to this thing that's going to help us. So I think I'm going to try to help out my friends more. And I'm going to try to cast Disorienting Theorem on them. So this will basically distract him and will give disadvantage on saving throws until the beginning of my next turn.
Okay, great.
So they have to make an intelligence saving throw, DC 14.
When you say they, do you mean the demon?
He, the
There we go.
demon.
Okay, he succeeds.
Well, then, shit. Then, yes, yeah, it's fine.
This demon knows accursed math.
It's fine.
So, Ita, you begin to throw theorems at the demon, but unfortunately, much like many frat demons, the Dougler is too concerned about snacks and is not confounded or vexed by what you're throwing down, only because he's hungry. He's thinking about that. He just can't focus on anything. I mean, he can't focus so much that he can't see anymore. It's super weird.
Well, then, as a bonus action, I'll use a drought analysis to like
point.
analyze his fighting style. And I will also learn its plane of origin, spellcasting ability, or level of the spell is high can cast.
Level of the spell's highest.
The
it can
spell
cast?
is high. Yeah, the spell is high.
The
Got it.
spell is high.
The spell is high. The highest spell. I'm reading different words that I'm saying. It's
Yeah, I
challenging
know,
for
I
me.
know.
It's
Was that
late.
or all of?
I'm tired. What?
Was that or? You can get one or the other, or do you get all of the above?
I get all of that shit.
Nice.
Oh. No. Fuck me. I get one of them.
Thank
I
you,
heard that
Ryan.
word.
God damn it.
I was gonna say, like, I love
Do you
going
know why?
to
Because there's,
homebrew,
like-
but sometimes homebrew's a little too jaunty.
I know. I have to write this out a little bit
That's
differently.
okay.
So, I'm trying to think of something that will help me.
Well, I mean, Laura, that does still sound like a useful cast. It's just determining
yeah.
what you actually want from it.
I don't know what it fucking matter. Plane of origin. Please.
Bold choice.
Bold.
Hell. Moving on.
Sorry, one sec. Just reading very quickly.
That's
Details
that's
I did
okay.
not think I needed.
Well, now you know.
Yeah, no. It's knowing is half the battle. That's what I've learned.
I'm gonna die. This character is not long for this world, is it?
Well, I mean, this character is about as effective as you would imagine someone who yells math at their opponents is in combat.
So
I would imagine very effective, Ryan.
Well, you made them.
Laura, here's a question. I know in kind of like classic D&D rules and ideas, the planes are an important piece. I have my theories, but I invented the world. So I have the truth of what that is for Gren.
Mm-hmm.
What is it for you? What is it for Ita? Because I'm curious how someone who is so fixated on kind of the logical and the mathematical conceives of where things like this demon or the salamander come from. What is your understanding of what you mean by planes?
I do think it is kind of the traditional planes. I think like Ida believes that there is a mathematical explanation for everything and that the planes of existence as they would be understood on Gren exist, but probably not in like the magical way that people think they exist.
So would you conceive of them as like other planets more so? Is that kind of, and not necessarily in terms of what you think they literally are, but how you just mentally imagine them?
I think she entertains the concept of a multiverse and things moving back and forth through them potentially.
Okay. Interesting. So with your analysis, you gain knowledge of what plane this creature is from.
Mm-hmm.
You would take that to mean a multiversal plane that it has stumbled in through. Have you studied that at all? I'm sorry, I know this sounds like a job interview, but I need a few answers so I can clarify what I'm going to tell you.
Okay. It's one of those things that like she's been studying on her own time, trying to piece things together because I don't think it's not something that's being taught because no one has the answer yet.
Okay. Yeah, I dig that.
But to her, it's just like seems it's the only thing that makes sense without being like it just is.
Yeah. No, I get that. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. It is from a place called Trine.
Trine. That's fun.
Which you would recognize as a plane of demons.
Okay.
It is known. It comes up. I think the frustration for someone like you is that it mostly comes up in various religious texts, the way that someone would describe like a ring of hell.
Yeah.
So you've kind of had to try and reconcile that with your knowledge. But in that kind of classic way where allegory and reality tend to have like a Venn diagram, you've established that there is a thing called Trine somewhere. You've heard of it.
Yeah.
You know it is where monsters dwell. That said, from what you've read and from what you understand, Trine isn't where likely all of the demons stumbling into this mine are from. Trine is like, if you think in Greek mythology, like this would be the realm of Titans. This is where the big fucking demon lords live. It's not a lesser, like it's not like little lesser demons just making little incursions. It is like fucking demon battle royale planet.
Okay.
So that's the plane where like the scariest things spoken of with the most reverence and fear theoretically come from. That said, the Dougler is not a creature you have read of from this plane. You know, there are stories about people being corrupted, nations falling. There were a lot of theories that Asher, the Necrotus, was a demon from another plane, that the Necrotus themselves were demons from a plane. But Trine is generally referred to with kind of reverence and distance as like a hell planet that no one would go to, but also seemingly nothing comes from. Like it's a plane that doesn't make a lot of incursions. It does occasionally, but it's fairly rare because it's a big fucking deal. Honestly, in Cthulhu terms, it would be like, this is where the great old ones live. So it'd be very strange to just see a bunch of them hanging out. So anyway, I don't know what that gives you, but that's what you get from your analysis.
I don't think it helps.
It has its own theme song now. It's trying so hard and got too grand. In the end, it needs a dwarven snack bar.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is a wrap. And folks, that is a wrap on Chris Code and Crown. Specifically, the Douglers from a park named Lincoln in Trine. Fuck, man, that's very good. Also, Beat Saber is broken due to an update right now, so I can't play my Linkin Park soundtrack on Beat Saber. So you're filling that gap in my soul. Yes, from the realm of Trine, realm of like big spooky demon lords. That's what you got.
Okay. Thanks.
Man,
Edith's like, I will add this to my, my notes if I survive this.
I will have an existential crisis about this and then deal with it.
Yeah, exactly.
I was kind of hoping you'd be like, oh, cool. All right. Well, I have a spell that only works when I know specifically the realm.
I mean,
one day.
One day.
Laura, can you roll me a perception check? No. Honestly, that's a fun little detour. I just apologize that it can't actually help you too much here.
Say perception, right?
Yes, please.
20 total.
So you do this. You kind of like run. I was gonna say like I keep thinking in sci-fi terms, but like you scan it, you think about it, you're like, okay, this tracks with what I know about Trine. This would be a demon lord from Trine. Strange that they're here, whatever. But also I think there's still like obviously a big degree of panic associated with that. And when you panic, as we've established from when you were kind of slipping through the stone, you fall back on familiar, comforting truths.
Yep.
And as your mind reels from dealing with the fact that a demon lord of Trine is here, you find yourself just kind of aimlessly looking around with soft focus. You're not looking for anything. And you start to realize something. You're in a lab. And if there's one thing that doctors and sort of scientists do, it's take copious notes. So while you feel useless in the moment, you suddenly start to realize that actually there might be information valuable to you somewhere in this space. Which brings us to the top of the round, the blinded Dougler. So the Dougler drops the remaining grade dwarves. People jump into the pit. They're like attacking his feet. He's just stomping occasionally, which generally kills a dwarf whenever he does it. And he just says, hey, I've been thinking about something. Obviously, the snacks are a problem, but now that I've got a couple in me, I feel like I had a pretty good thing going here, and then suddenly it stopped. So the Dougler's asking himself, hey, Dougler, what stopped your snacks? And none of you feel like my cool snacks. You're like gross veggies that showed up in my snacks. And I don't want veggies. I specifically want snacks. So I think maybe you fuckos are responsible. And after all the laughs we've shared, guy I've been talking to in my mind, fuck you guys. That said, he is blinded, so he's got disadvantage, but he's going to start taking massive swings just in the general vicinity of where he last saw you. So he'll have disadvantage. There are 3 of you, and so that's 2 on Duncan because I rolled for it, and 1 on Makka, 1 on Ita. Duncan, Makka, what's your AC?
19.
Oh, I think the blindness may have done him in on that one, actually. 1 sec.
I've got blindness up here if that's what you're reading up on.
No. I
Okay.
closed the book because I was thinking real hard about what plane he's from. And I'm sorry, your AC is 19?
Yeah.
He misses by 1. Disadvantage, man.
Thank goodness.
Do it. So Makka, you see one of these arms swing in, and you kind of like pop your shield up and just kind of guide it past. But again, minimal motion, just as little as you can do.
How far is he reaching with these strikes?
Far. I would say he's
We wouldn't be able to swing back from where we're standing, right?
you can with disadvantage. So the thing is, he's big enough that if you kind of like leaned as far forward from the lip as you could and swung, you might be able to hit him, but it is it's hard from up here. That's why all the Demon Knights leapt into the pit to like go for the legs, but it's not working out tremendously well.
Then I think he has to, at some point on this turn, make a con save for my Halo of Spores for being within range to attack me.
Yes, he absolutely does. And I'm sorry, what is the check he needs to roll?
Against my spell save DC, so 15.
Shit, no.
Okay, so there's a little extra juice thanks to Symbiotic Entity. Oh, excellent. I rolled the damage die twice. So that's a total of 5 necrotic damage.
Nice. All right. Believe me when I say every little bit counts in this particular fight. Cool. So the massive hand comes swiping through, it swipes through spores in front of you, and you can see them eating away at the flesh and the fur as it spins past you. Ita, what is your AC?
My AC is 13.
Oh, it's okay. I rolled a 2.
Yay!
Wait, sorry, your AC is 13?
Yeah. God damn it, Tom.
No, it's okay. He only gets +7, so you're fine. Similarly, comes swiping down at you, but I think rather than like you actively dodging, it's just you starting to like walk towards notes.
I'm like, yeah.
Like absentmindedly, it's just like you step out of the way,
100%.
hand claws the ground, drags across, but you're out of the way.
I have more important things to read.
Absolutely. And you're like, oh, he's trying too hard. Duncan, what is your AC, good sir?
16.
I rolled double 20s.
Whoa.
Nice.
So that one will be where you want to use your uncanny dodge.
Possibly. Yeah, I got options.
That was double 20 on disadvantage. I've never seen that. That's bananas.
Hot diggity shit.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, bud. Okay, so... All right, so Duncan, that is going to be...
Butts, man. It's gonna be butts.
that is 21 points of damage.
Okay, I'm gonna try to parry it. So that's a swashing point. Because that gets me 9 plus D8 removed, which I think odds are will be better than half, but we'll see. Oh yeah, that's a 7, baby. So I'll take 16 off of it. So that makes it 5 damage.
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
Good move.
Yes. Yeah. Very good. Good play. Sorry, it took 17. You took 16 off.
Yeah.
Yes,
From 21.
Yeah.
Cool.
Damn, man. Explain what that looks like.
I think that's one of those situations because it's clawing down or sideways.
Which would you prefer? For Ida, it went down. For Makka, it went sideways.
Okay, so if we go down sideways and then it's coming down on Duncan again, but I think he's got the scabbard in one hand and the rapier in the other, so he can almost do an X where like he catches the middle finger and can direct like, middle and right claw to one side as he tries to dance, and he gets tagged with the left on like the, it scrapes the arm coming down, but doesn't hit any like muscle groups. So he's bleeding a la Princess Bride after the rats.
Okay.
That's a good point of reference.
All right there.
Which was good for the first hit. But unfortunately, because I rolled on a D3 and you came up for murder, second hit comes at you.
He's still blinded.
Yeah, I know. I'm rolling with disadvantage on all of these.
I gotta advocate for what I can do here.
You are correct, sir. And the good news is,
I just try to destabilize people.
I rolled an 8 and a 2.
Okay.
So that comes up to a 9. So as you kind of cross out of it, he's like, "Ow! The Dougler's fingies hurt." And as he's doing that, like Jackie Chan just punched a guy, like whoo thing with his hand, it means that his other hand is less coordinated. Something I love about creatures with multiple arms is like I feel like a lot of times people just play it like each arm has full HP and a mind of its own. It's like, no, man, I stubbed my toe. All of Tom is like, fucking ow. So the second hit just goes wide and like crashes through a bunch of papers, hits the wall, the entire space rumbles. A couple of the cables come like swinging down, and he like punches a crater in that wall, but happily does not punch a crater in Duncan. Bringing us to speak of the devil, Duncan.
Tom,
for in the spirit of fairness, I should ask.
Yes.
The Dougler
Yes,
to do a con save to recover from blindness. 15 is the target.
Oh, I missed it by 1. He's still blind.
Okay, we still get advantage on him. He has disadvantage on us for another round. Thank God.
Whew. That was
preparing.
That was a
I
close
was going to say, preparing himself for a suicidal charge. Duncan will look around because if this room shook when it got punched, there were a bunch of explosives that blew up the princess before. We're not fortunate enough to see like panic explosives, right? That'd be great.
Unfortunately, no. This isn't necessarily something you would put together. Actually, no, it would be because you spend a bunch of time in Orville. This seems like here in Ontario, we have a nuclear plant built on a fault line, which is a really dumb idea. But I mean, it hasn't exploded yet. You get the sense that that's kind of what was happening here, and it's something you've seen in Orville time and time again. They harnessed something truly powerful and old and ancient and awful so long ago that they've just kind of been like, it's fine. So where there are explosives to like lock the demon portals, the actual trapped demon, they've just been ignoring.
Yeah, that sounds like idiots. He's like,
they're all in their 20s, dude.
He's just like, this is what comes from democracy. He thinks to himself as a system that a man raised in the feudal system would think is deeply flawed. And I think all he would do then is basically sprint forwards, like jump up and kind of leap off of the handrail, the security rail with the flag waving and the rapier in his hand. And then he wants to get in amongst the legs, kind of like spinning, dipping, diving, all that business. But his whole goal is just to stab the rapier as deeply as he can into the calves. He just wants to take one leg out so that it's not as mobile, because then you can either run or climb to kill it.
Well, my dude, I got some good news for you. You're going to get advantage on that shit because there are a bunch of demon knights down there that are like, they look at you like you might be the problem, but also you're not the demon. This is such a weird deep cut. But it's that moment in The Rocketeer where like the cops and the gangsters are both shooting at Nazis, and they look at each other and they're like, honestly, yeah, okay. And they're just like, fuck the Nazis. It's one of my favorite moments in all of film. So it's that. They're kind of like, well, okay. As long as we're all stabbing the big monster, we're good.
Yeah.
So go ahead with advantage.
While he's stabbing the legs, he's quietly saying to himself, normally this would be a witness me, but the last one was so good. He's just kind of stabbing away.
Great. You know what's dumb is I forget that how much Duncan likes punning and like pageantry every time until you roll. It's so dumb. Every turn I'm like, oh, right. I like it.
That was a nat 20 on the first stab with the rapier.
Awesome.
Rapier, so he's getting his vengeance for those 20.
I was going to say, you have advantage on that one, but I don't think you need it.
Yeah.
But you do have advantage on all of these because there are a lot of dwarves.
Okay, so the first
Gwendolyn
one
pinged off a bunch of people on the way out, so I have to be true to my earlier world build.
Yay. All right, so that's 16 magic-fueled piercing damage on the first round. And then his second strike is a 21 to hit, which we've established just barely hits. Beautiful. And that does an additional 11 piercing damage for a total of 27 damage this round.
Fucking A, man.
Yeah, so I think you're watching him probably almost work around the dwarves. Like, it's one of those things where like he can like dive over somebody and like the stabs are all very targeted while he's swirling the other thing. He's just trying to inspire everybody. I feel like the scabbard of Unlikely Fellowship, the bless doesn't work necessarily when he's using it and like it's a magical skill. I think it's just an obscene classical heroic amount of heroism that makes people want to step up and like follow him into the breach.
Yeah, I totally buy that. Also, in this particular instance, the joy, like the agony and the ecstasy of Sprangbrekh is that everyone knows they will only like really get to live their adult life from like 19 to maybe 30. So they're like, oh, fuck yeah, YOLO. So as
everyone
you're swinging
here
around,
is already dead.
they're just singing Drake songs at the top of their lungs. Drake being a famous Sprangbrekh dwarf bard. But yeah, they are inspired. They gain bless, but they're not.
No, it can only affect up to 3 creatures. So we'll keep it on our team because otherwise I could just cast bless on 10,000 dwarfs and fuck shit up.
That's pretty funny, but no. Okay, cool. Then in that case, I'm going to say that their renewed vigor and their chant of YOLO gives, I'm going to say kind of like basically a hold. So like a point of inspiration to both Makka and to Ita. Because not because you guys are particularly inspired by them chanting YOLO, but they're fighting twice as hard, which means the Dougler is twice as distracted. Okay. Cool. Speaking of which, I dropped them out of initiative order because they were kind of getting stomped. But now that they've been psyched up about the banner, we're going to see what they do, if anything. Oh, okay. Yeah, they do get a hit in. All right. They managed to do 10 points of damage. Cool.
Duncan is so glad that explosion happened so no one knows he killed a bunch of demon knights.
I mean, the night's young. Makka.
Makka sees the value in adding more numbers to our side, so he casts Conjure Animals.
Hey!
Yeah.
Yes!
And it's
what does he conjure, Tyler?
I was going to say, I feel like Conjure Animals has become I'm tired of these motherfucking stakes of this motherfucking plane. We're just like, we as players, and I'm sure the audience is just waiting for like, but when's Makka going to do it though? After those Panthers, I just want this all the time.
As a druid, there are definitely like spells that I'm like cycling through, like preparing. It's like, we'll see if this works on this day kind of thing. But there are definitely some like, this is staying in the rotation spells as well. Like Cure Wounds, Conjure Animals for sure. And
I do want to see the day where you cycle out Cure Wounds. You're like, I'm sure it'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly.
We're party KO.
And he just yells like, heal them, rats! And just 100 rats pop out in doctor uniforms to try to do their best.
We spread plague, now we're trying to cure it.
That's right. My plague doctors.
True. It wasn't the rats. What do you summon, sir?
I'm going to summon forth Hank and Dean, the Vulture Brothers. And that's just a joke for me.
I just choked on my beer, dude. That's great.
I've named them Hank and Dean. That's who they'll be.
Yep.
Makka won't name them that, but
It's helpful for my like HP tracking and stuff. So Hank and Dean.
So similar to, I need to roll.
I say, what does Makka name them, Tyler?
They don't have names. It's because life is so fleeting, especially for conjured animals. They're not worth naming. They are servants of Jossie, just like he is.
Jossie has named them Hank and Dean. Yeah, Jossie respects that their brief life deserves recognition.
So that's
the cluster tells Makka they're named Hank and Dean, so now Makka has to accept it.
Oh, I kind of like that only the vultures know that they have names. I don't think Makka knows at all. Because I agree with you. He'd just be like, no, this will happen, and they'll go back. Whereas they're like, cool, we're back.
It also fits
Go Team Vulture.
It fits our like Fey familiar rules of Toby, Victor, and Karen. I believe Hank and Dean would exist in that.
Absolutely.
I rolled their initiative. They rolled 18, so they get inserted into the initiative order. So they don't go right away, but they are now.
They're top of the initiative order when we get there. That's great.
I've summoned them out, and it's just sort of like, I think we talked about it before, but it's like Final Fantasy X, like Spira fiends of like multiple Fey like presences coming together and coalescing into an animal creature. They both bear the crest of Jossie on their like breastbone, like on their chests, and they fly and circle. As vultures do, they circle the Douglar's head, waiting for their turn.
I'd just like to take a hot second to acknowledge that we quip a lot about fan fiction on our various shows. I love that our shows are just fan fiction. It's just like, this thing I like from this thing. Yeah, that's what I do. I say as Sprangbrekhers fight the Douglar with Richard Cambridge and Jaden, definitely not based on real politicians. Anyway.
I'll spend my movement to actually jump down into the fray, so I'm near the feet with these other dwarven warriors.
Excellent. Bringing us to Ita.
Get me to those papers.
All right. You rush the papers, and
I rush.
Well, no,
papers failed their dexterity save.
You run over. Go ahead and roll an investigation.
Papers.
Okay. That's a 19 investigation.
Damn. So looking around, like there's a bunch of like just truly boring, day in, day out information floating around. However, much like any well-equipped work site, there are also safety precautions that you eventually find. And it would seem that there is, in fact, a solution. Unfortunately, it requires stone shapers. But basically, the plan is, if things were to go sideways, melt the mine and drop Sprangbrekh Fortress onto the demon.
Oh God, fucking accents. Stone shapers. We need stone shapers. Anybody?
One of your
demon
knights
like YOLO.
And one of the knights just points to the shattered like flesh and stone pile. He's like, sorry, lady, bro, that's the last one we got. All right, YOLO.
Yeah.
Goes back to fighting.
I like the war boy kind of mentality. It's like, I live, I die, and that's it. Just like running.
I love lady bro as a formal term. These are all things that work.
Lady.
Yeah. Sunrise, sunset,
what about that lady wizard back there?
Where
we came from?
Remember that tunnel we had a long talk through?
Yep. She's a ways back.
Another chamber.
Can you roll me a perception check, please?
Yeah. Not great. It's a 4.
You have 2 points of inspiration banked. One from helping sort the election, and one from the
16.
YOLO boys. There you go. You see the same kind of stone-shaped voice amplifier that Richard the Grey was trying to use. Unfortunately, because the Douglar is free, there's currently no power to it. If you could find a way to power it, you might be able to get a message topside. Sounds like you're going to have to wait till your next turn to figure out what to do with that.
I'm just like, he is doing what I'm doing. I have to remember this is an auditory medium.
Really?
And I'm just like literally like looking around, just like frantically.
No immediate solutions, but possible future solutions. Bringing us to the end of the round and the end of this particular combat as we shift over to the armory. Gwendolyn, you are facing down against Karen. The exit has collapsed. What do you do?
This episode of Curse Code and Crowd Sound was mixed and edited by Laura Hamstra, and the campaign was created by Tom McGee. Our original theme music was composed by Landon Knoblock, and Curse Code and Crowd's logo was created by the brilliant Decapitated Markers. If you want to follow our players or our DM on Twitter, you can reach out to Laura at EL Hamstring, Ryan at the Ryan LaPlante, Tyler at Tyler_Hewitt, Tom McGee at McGeeTD, or you can message our whole company at Dice. So please, join us again for more Curse, Code, and Crown!
Dum-Dums and Dice has to give a special thank you to the supreme beings of our Patreon at this time. Christian Menicola, Long, The Half-Blind Prophet, James Cuellar, Charles Grams, Christopher Little, Sue One, George Dolby, One True Artistry, Orion Birchfield, Lord of Bradovic, Noel Lewis, Scott Garland, Anthony Griffin, Chet Awesome Laser, Jordan Neesmith, Benjamin V, Gavin and Abby McDonald, Taryn Hefner, Cade Peters, Richard Cranium, Christian Mendez, Anna Zed, and Jill and Noel LaPlante. If you want your name to be added to this list, you can join our Patreon too at patreon.com/dumdumdice. Thanks to them, and a little bit of thanks to you.